Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mr. Zorbid 1 here, back again, another episode of the series where I review the many tanks and armoured vehicles in Armoured Warfare. In this episode, we'll be having a look at the Swingfire, a Tier 4 AFV. Let's take a look at its stats. Now at Tier 4, the Swingfire is kind of an odd piece of equipment. It's kind of an odd piece of equipment in the entire game, really. It only has 80 GMs. However, there are some vehicles that only have 80 GMs, although the Swingfire has a weird firing art of those 80 GMs, so I won't really compare it with anything at this tier at the moment. Because at this tier, there's nothing that compares with it, so let's just go through it and analyse the stats. On its own, penetration of 428 with its missiles, damage of 375, it can only fire missiles, so that's okay. That's okay for a tier 4 missile. Damage per minute of 2200. And a reload time of 16 seconds, that's for both missiles. Hit points of 760, and an armour of 12 on the front, 10 on the side and 8 on the rear, which is terrible. And the turret armour is just non-existent, 8, 8 and 8. Max speed of 52 kilometers an hour, and a hull traverse of 38 degrees a second. Acceleration is okay, with being about 3 seconds. Camouflage is View range is 440 meters. Which is decent. Cannon depression. It doesn't have it has like maximum depression as far as you can tilt the camera. Pretty much is the depression. So 45 degrees downwards and 45 degrees upwards is the degrees of depressions on the missiles. It doesn't have a cannon, so it's just the missiles or the camera. I presume it's the camera on top, the little post that you see there that directs the missiles. Anyway, let's look at its non-existent armour. So looking at the armour of the tank, it doesn't have any. The turret is a very small target. The rockets, there are 2 rockets in the salvo at any time. There's 5 from here, with a delay between firing each of them. So they fire sort of upwards. So you can sort of park it behind obstacles and fire over the obstacles. That's sometimes effective. Doesn't work all the time, it's really weird. Turret is there, turret is easy. You can easily pen it. Just load your heat or your HE or whatever your preferred choice is, and just pen it anywhere. It doesn't have any. It has really small tracks. They're not going to absorb anything. Rear armor. The engine is back in the front there, so aim right about there. That part. Rear. There's just nothing there. This is the firing system for the rockets. The turret. I don't think it even is a turret. I don't think it even moves, does it? I don't know. It might move. We'll see in the game. But the armor, non-existent. Let's take a look at the retrofits. This tank comes with 3 retrofit slots, a universal slot, a firepower slot, and another firepower slot. So for the universal slot, I'd recommend the HP. Complete HP, more HP is always good. Armor, HP. Okay, because you don't have much HP anyway, so you might as well increase it. Anyway, firepower, damage. You have rockets, you need more damage. You need loads more damage. You're guaranteed to get one of your rockets to hit, even if they have APS. Then one of the APS will go off, and then your next rocket coming in will hit the tank without triggering the APS, because it already had gone off. Anyway, so damage, that helps it the most in firepower. Anyway, let's look at some gameplay. I just want to go through the stats of the Swingfire a bit more, and just give my opinion on what it would be like by looking at it on paper. So before you go into the game. Damage, it's okay, but you're firing missiles, so it's to be expected. Penetration, very good for this tier. However, it is missiles. Damage per minute is 2200, which is reload time of 16 seconds, which is pretty bad actually. It's not even it's really bad. So you're going to be out of the fight quite a long time when you fired your missiles. Hit points 760, not the best in the world, but use retrofits and you will be up to speed maybe. Hull has no armor, so you've got to hide all the time. Max speed of 52, so it's somewhat fast and somewhat maneuverable. View range, very good view range. So what this really thing is an AFV that needs to camp a lot, hide a lot, and pop 2 missiles into a target, and then hide for 16 seconds again. So we'll see that in the gameplay that's about to follow. Here we are in our first game of the Swingfire. just bumped into an ally there. And so the Swingfire. What should we do on this map? Because this map is all close quarters at the start. Let's go up on that hill. I keep seeing people doing it in tank destroyers. They just drive straight up to the top of the hill where all the artillery spawns at the start of the game, and then they're just camping there for the rest of the game. So let's try that. This is a Swingfire, of course, so it's the most campiest of camping tanks around, because you have 2 missiles, and the reload scales if you shoot 2 missiles. You have to reload 2 missiles. If you shoot one, basically, if you shoot 1 missile, you reload for 8 seconds, or about that time, depending on your retrofits and all that. And if you shoot 2 missiles, you reload for 16 seconds, so it doubles. So it's 2 missiles. So it presents kind of a problem when you fire your 2 missiles and there's still tanks around, because you can't kill tanks. Oh, just kill this artillery quickly. Yep, he's down. You can't kill most tanks at this tier with 2 missiles. Sometimes you can. Sometimes in a high roll you can. However, if you come up against multiple enemies and you shoot 2 missiles at one enemy and then you have to reload for 16 seconds, the enemy, depending on what tank they are, can get 2 shots or about that much into your tank. And at this tier you don't have much health, so they can just kill. If it's depending on the tank, they can kill you. If it's a bagel, you're dead, because it's a bagel. In this tier, bagels are insane. If it's a stingray, you're dead, because it's a stingray. The reload is great, penetration is great, and they could be firing heat as well. So it's mind-boggling, really. They should really focus on this tank. I think it's a bit unbalanced in its current form. We'll look to the future Balance 2.0 to see how they change this. Anyway, Scorpion and multiple tanks in front. They're all spied. Badel's looking at me. Let's pop some smoke in his general direction. So the smoke fires forwards off the hull. There's no turret on it, so you can't rotate a turret. So what you'll have to do, if you ever get a tank behind you and you can't escape, you have to rotate the tank round, bearing in mind the traverse speed is stupidly bad, and then you just have to pop smoke in that direction, wherein they probably got 2 shots into you while you were doing that. So not the best in the world, but this tank does have its quirks in the fact that it only fires missiles, and that's about it. It doesn't have any other defensive armament. You can't really do any other tactic apart from camp at the back, supporting teammates and getting kills and stuff. You should always go for the tank that is the lowest amount of health, so you can get a kill. That's pretty much the only reason. And you should also hold on, I'll save that for in a minute because it's interesting. Anyway, some tanks on the bridge. The reload. Oh, another tank spotted. This is the problem. If you reload, saving your 1 missile. If you have fire 1 missile and then reload, then it's still 8 seconds. So it's still a long reload time. That was a high roll and got a kill for that. You can one-shot a majority of weaker tanks at this tier. The tanks below you can one-shot with these missiles. And they have a sort of arc, so they fire upwards out of the tank and then down. So if you ever played Call of Duty, or namely the Modern Warfare Call of Duty games, the Javelin. I loved the Javelin. And this is kind of like a Javelin, which is why I kind of liked the rocket system in this tank. And that's the only thing I like about it. The fact that it has no armour, no mobility, no traverse, no no gun. Jesus. I would like it to have a gun and missiles. That'd be nice. But I don't think that's ever going to come. So here, there's tanks behind me. I can't go anywhere. I have to either face them, turn around, pop smoke, but I'm too close to pop smoke anyway, so I can't. I just pop smoked in front of me accidentally. Just drive through it. Maybe that'll hide me, but apparently not. So you can hide behind hills in this tank because the trajectory of the missiles fires over an obstacle, up and over like that. You can literally just zoom out and just use third-person camera and shoot stuff, which is what you should be doing in this tank if you ever want to advance. If you're in a camping position, far away from enemy tanks, you're fine. You can zoom in, you can use the zoom in to zoom. Wow, amazing. But if you ever want to move up, into enemy lines, you don't have to be doing stuff like this, which is hide behind cover, zoom out, third person camera, and then just fire over the hill or obstacle in front of you, and then they'll pretty much do it. But there are some other ways you can get the missile to go higher than normal. You can, for instance, turn the tank around, which I will show you in the next gameplay. You can turn the tank around, which means the missile will fire up, go straight up, then go and curve round and come straight down on top of the enemy tank. So that helps when the tank in question is behind obstacles, or the tank in question is, I don't know. If the tank in question has armour, then you can come down on top of the tank and potentially get an engine fire, or just come down the armour of the tank, which is the weakest, which is the top part. So it's pretty easy with this tank. You have to employ some intense strategy though, sometimes. So we come up to the end of this game now. There should be like one tank left, and it's been spotted already. It's Bagel. Let's go down the hill, and we probably won't get our missile off because we're so far away, and we still have to stop. And no, the ground's too slippery to stop. So that's that game, and I'll see you in the next one. Welcome to the second game in the Swingfire here. On Operation Quarterback, we feature this mission a lot because it's quite easy to play, and it features some opportunities to get some kills, to show off the tank a bit more. Right, so this is what I'm going to show you on this. The last gameplay was me rambling on about the features of this tank, and now I'll show you them. So we're just going to hide behind this bit of dune here, wait for our tanks to spot, our friendly tanks to spot stuff. Because that's all you can't spot stuff in this tank. You can spot stuff actually. Not a nice view range, but you have to do stuff like this. Wait for your teammates to spot stuff, and then fire missiles over a hill. So you're pretty much playing the role of artillery, with other artillery on your team. So if you ever get many Swingfires in your team, expect them to be like artillery the entire game. Missile artillery. That's what I call them. So for this tactic, I recommend buying a very high definition monitor, like a 4K monitor. There you can find the pixels really easily. I mean, far away, there's like one pixel I can see here, which it turns my reticle green. It's incredibly hard to hit, but you can see how the missile fires up over the dune and comes down on the tank. That's also a good way to spot Swingfires. The missile does like show up for a long time, stays there for the trail of the missile, the fumes or the exhaust of the missile stays there for a while, so you can definitely see if there's Swingfires firing. I think there's this. We can just go over the hill now, zoom in, and get this M60 over here. Definitely won't be able to kill him. He's a tier higher. 2 missiles and a 16-second reload time, so not the best in the world, if I do say so myself. There's other tanks, however, we can go for. We're going to try and go for the 2 kills here. Let's swap targets. The missile is in flight time for quite a while, so you can swap targets if one tank dies, which is a good point actually. Good point for this tank. There's not many good points for this tank, but this is one of them. M60 over there. He has ERA. Sometimes he has ERA. Depends what model it is or what upgrade he's got. And okay, we missed completely. It's another bad point of the missiles. You have to aim onto the tank. You can't just lock on and fire and then run away. That'd be wonderful if you could. But oh, this tank. Oh well, I might use a new tactic, or a nice tactic here. Fire. He comes out of range and you just pull the missile down. So you don't even need to be locked onto him. You just wait until the missile zooms over the heads of your enemies, even if they're not spotted, and it goes over the head of the hill or the dune or whatever, or the mountain. And then you can pull it down. You can pull the missile down over the hill and kill whatever's over there. That's insane. That's a really good point for this tank. However, it does happen for a lot of other ATGM vehicles, so it's not a specialty. Definitely isn't a specialty. But it's easier to do because the missile does go higher than normal. Anyway, pushing up on the refinery here. Should be an easier time now, but we are close quarters, so missiles do tend to misbehave at close quarters, as you might be able to tell in a minute. right here because there seems to be a bridge in the way, and I hit the bridge. So it's still like a javelin from Modern Warfare 2, because you can fire it and it'll hit whatever it's going into, like a bridge. But you won't know the bridge is there, which is the problem. However, I can use my amazing tactic of firing backwards, which means the missile gets higher in the air and comes down on a higher trajectory than normal on the tank, because it flies up and over your tank to get to the enemy, which is a nice tactic you can do to employ some of the weaker armour, getting some penetration shots. However, at this tier there is no weaker armour, there is no heavy armour really. Oh, I've left him on so little health. Let's just go in for the ram and get him dead. Wow, this tank can't even ram something. Wow, that is depressing actually. So, I don't have many good points about this tank. It's not the best tank in the world. Definitely not. It's not even a fun tank to play really. Unless you like camping. And I don't like camping, as you might be able to tell from my other videos. Definitely don't like camping. But this tank's for camping. This tank's either, hold on, this tank's either, I've figured this out, camping or getting kills. That's what this tank is about. If you want kills, get this tank. If you want damage, don't, because it's crap. But the kills, you can just focus like weakly armoured tanks and weakly health tanks and tanks that have been shot by your allies and just one-shot them. And then you have 2 missiles to do that, so you get 2 kills every time. This really isn't the best tank in the world. Right, come to the end of the mission now. Last tank alive. Let's push on him down the slipway here. The slipway, entranceway, I guess you'd call it. And then I can't express enough how just 3 XP this tank. It's bad. It really is. It really is bad. When I got it for the first time, I didn't think it was that bad, but it is really bad. Because I did used to do well in it, but it's just I've found other tanks, and the other tanks can do better than this can. But oh my god, it's like a Call of Duty sniper. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll go more into that in the summary, but stay tuned for that. My my analogy of a Call of Duty sniper. Anyway, that's the mission done. I'll see you in the summary. So that's been a quick look at the Swingfire. Overall, not the best tank in the world, not a good tank either. Not even an average tank. A poor tank. I'd give it a poor tank status. It doesn't have you can't fire on the move, which hampers it a bit. You can't. The reload time is 16 seconds or around that area for both missiles. 7 seconds for one missile, or 8 seconds for one missile, something like that. It hasn't got a rotatable turret. It's really hard to use, but when you get the hang of it, like after the first gameplay we saw there, somewhat got the hang of it, you can pull off some amazing shots. This armoured vehicle is like snipers in Call of Duty. When you see at the end of the game, there's the last kill, and there's this sniper just rotating on the spot, trying to get that amazing shot with his sniper rifle. And normally, most of the time, they just suck. They are hamper to your team. They shouldn't be on your team. You hate them because they're crap. And then sometimes they pull off the most amazing shots. So, like this tank. Pull off the most amazing shots, can go out of orbit, round the sun, round the moon, round Saturn, Venus, and all over those planets. Come back down, kill a T-64 who is behind a mountain, behind a hill and in a tunnel. So yeah, that's the Swingfire. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Mr. Zubid1, and I'll see you next time.